friends, we are back. This is an interesting violin. I had it set up and ready to play for a demo about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We gave it just one bow, and Catherine was immediately kind of bunny nosed, just like, this is not okay. So we took the top off the violin and looked inside, and that top plate was so thick, which is common with some old instruments. It was roughly hewn out, so it sounded horrible. So why did I tell you that? So we had it regraduated, properly graduated, and we have an old violin that dates to about 1780, 1790 with a very similar style. So I was able to take depth measurements from it, provide it to the professional luthier and violin maker to sort of follow that flow, which he did. So really kind of a cool story. It's been regraduated. Long story short, this violin was actually purchased in Canada, Vancouver, and was the property of a luthier that was born in the 1800s. So it just has this kind of this neat charm and its life, and we can trace it back to, you know, just a long time ago. So I'm going to stop and pause there, but I just wanted to give you the background, what it's been through. And Catherine is here to demo it, and hopefully we don't get the bunny nose and the horrible sound. So I'm curious to hear how it sounds now.
Instrument from when I first played it, and it was like so dead. The top plate was so thick, the sound was deceased, and it was, yes, like John said, it was an immediate no, because, you know, I think instruments should have vibrance and life, and you know, they should just ring out and sing out, and it definitely has that voice now. It can really shine through. It sings out. This is a very bright instrument, which is my preference. I love bright instruments. Not that I don't appreciate warm ones, but I do love a nice bright sound. And something that I'd like to try, because I already love the brightness of this instrument, I want to try a couple of classical pieces, and I want to try a couple of fiddle pieces. This kind of has a little bit of a fiddle flavor, just a little bit. So I'm going to play a couple of classical pieces. I'm just going to go straight through them. I'll kind of talk about what I hear, and then I'm going to play a couple of fiddle tunes. already just nice, bright sound. It has a nice balance as it goes across the string, and a nice balance as it goes up the instrument as well. And it has a lot of resonance, and there's a lot of ringing that's happening, and it's a very clear instrument as well, as you heard with the articulation when I played the little fast bit. Articulation means how you play a note, and so I played the notes very shortly, and you could hear every single note. So overall, it has really nice clarity to each and individual note, especially whenever I played the double stops. You could really hear everything that was happening, which is what you want to hear when you're playing double stops, which means to play two notes at the same time. Another thing I really enjoyed about it is it's just, I really, like I've mentioned before, I really do enjoy how alive this instrument feels. It's just so bright, and I really feel a lot of the buzzing just up against my jaw, which tells me that the wood is just so active and resonating, that it's resonating throughout the whole instrument, and I'm feeling it along the chin rest, right along my jaw. I'm just feeling it absolutely buzz my jaw, which is great. I really love feeling that, because that lets me know that the wood is just active and responding, which is an incredible thing. So I'm going to play a little something else, and then I'll play some fiddle tunes. So even at a whisper, I call this a stage whisper. If you've ever gone to see any kind of like musical or a play, an opera, or maybe just something on TV, you can tell when the actors are whispering, but you can still hear everything they're saying because it's a stage whisper. You're supposed to convey the whisper across to the audience without actually whispering, right? And so I think this instrument really has what I call the stage whisper. I just explained it, sorry. It has that stage whisper because you heard every note clearly. You could hear exactly what it was doing. It was just still projecting and still sending its sound out far, but the dynamic level was low to where you could tell that it's a softer dynamic, but like, good grief, it was still projecting and still you could hear it. And so I could probably try and get even softer on it, but I think this is a pretty extroverted instrument, and it wants to make sure every single note is heard for sure. So I think that's a really interesting quality of this instrument, is that it has that stage whisper versus some other instruments who can get really, 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 really soft and have a true itty bitty whisper, which might be fantastic for orchestra, but for solo playing, you want to convey that it's a soft dynamic while still filling a gigantic hall full of 3,000 people. So now off to my next curious experiment. I would love to hear what it sounds like with some fiddle music. tune just a little bit, because with fiddle music, you really want to make sure your open strings are in tune. And I think these are fresh strings, so the strings will kind of bend in and out of tune sometimes as they're getting used to being stretched out that much. So after a few days, they should settle and they'll stay in tune. But I just, the brightness of this instrument really like calls fiddle tunes, in my opinion. I feel like this instrument wants to be played as a fiddle instrument. I think that brightness is like that kind of sunrise feeling that I like to feel whenever I listen to fiddle tunes and listen to someone playing fiddle tunes. I like hearing that like bright yet deep violin sound in recordings, and I think that this instrument is of that nature. Of course, any adjustments can pull it in any direction you want, but it has that like beautiful fiddle quality that I like to hear. Makes me want to like crack open a beer or something, for those over 21, of course. But like, oh my gosh, like just such like a great fiddle sound. It's just so, it just has that fiddle quality for sure. So if you're a person who enjoys classical music and fiddle tunes, who likes a bright instrument and really likes to be heard whenever they play, wants that presence, wants that room filling, the room filling sound, this is definitely an instrument that you should stop in and check out for sure.
That was so much fun. I love it when a demo I get lost in it. It's a good sound. I want to say the sound is kind of like deep and chewy. Like I just want to take a big bite out of it like a burger. I mean, it was. And this is the quote unquote stainer. It's a very thick instrument. It looks kind of like somebody blew it up like a balloon. So you have a lot of air mass included in these. So they are liked by a lot of fiddlers. So it's almost like a big person talking. Sometimes you can just hear how much air they have in their lungs, and this is kind of like what I'm getting from this violin. If I can put you on the spot, Catherine,
yeah.
Can I just do a request if you haven't played it already? Just a tiny bit of my favorite fiddle tune, which is the Back Up and Push, which I've heard you play once or twice before.
Always check if they're in tune. Teeth were rattling just now.
Don't play that every day. Thanks for being.
I don't play it every day, but absolutely.
That was fantastic.
It's fun. It really feels like butter to be able to play those double stops. There are some instruments that it's like kind of difficult to, and it feels kind of clunky and awkward. But like it was just, my fingers were just able to maneuver around very nicely.
Wonderful job. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, online friends. And thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Violin Maker. And thank you, Violin Regraduator, that brought the life back to this instrument. So play on, my friends.